Hello and welcome to the Business Brunch. We are here to serve you with the finest options in information that you can use and top tips to make your life, and both in work and at home, better, and also help those around you. My name's Melinda Ward. I am here with esteemed co-hosts Sarah Farmer and Vanessa Ashworth, and we are really happy to see you. So please drop a comment in on whatever platform you might be on. Let us know that you're here, let us know where you're from, and let us know if you have any initial questions on our main topic of the day, which is developing a recession-proof mindset. So as we all know, because it's all over the news, it's really inescapable, most of the world is either in or precipitously close to being in a recession. And even if you aren't an economist and you don't know what all that really means, it'll have an effect. It's like negative chatter and things like that. And people are worried. They're worried about paying their bills, they're worried about job security, they're worried about lots of things. So it's really important for us to not get in the trap of that negative thinking loop. And that's why we are going to be talking about that today. So our lead expert on this is Sarah Farmer. So we'll do a quick run through and let you know who we all are, especially for those who are new to the program. And we'll start with Sarah because Sarah's the specialist for today.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm on mute because the dogs are going bananas because my husband just come in. So apologies for that if you can hear them. But yeah, I'm Sarah Farmer. I'm an executive coach and I specialize in helping people develop the mindset and the skills to be the best leaders that they can possibly be. So the mindset piece, obviously, today is what we're going to be focusing on, and how do you build that resilient, recession-proof mindset that everybody could do with just a little bit more of at the moment. And I'll hand over to Vanessa, who's not just there, but she's also over there. She's at my house.
Yeah, we thought about being in the same room, but then we thought, how can we kind of both fit on and can you hear us? So I'm up above the garage. It's in a very lovely room. But yes, I am Vanessa Ashworth. I am a marketer. I step in to make you stand out, and that's my function. Just before we get on, I was going to do the comment wrangling today and bring comments on. But for some reason, I mean, I'm not on my usual computer because I'm at Sarah's on my laptop. I can't see the chat. I've got a kind of, it says I'm offline. So I don't know if, Melinda, can you see the chat?
Yep,
so you might have to help and do the comment wrangling because I can't see it. So I'll, anyway, let's
anyway,
do it.
So let's move, moving swiftly on. My name's Melinda Ward. I am the director of Consulting Solutions and Managed Services for Helm 360. And my area of speciality is business transformation, consulting, corporate consultant management, managing teams, that sort of thing. So my angle in all this topic is not just how to have this mindset that Sarah's going to talk about for yourself, but how best to support your teams and the people who are working with you. Because even if they directly, your individuals might not have a big struggle because maybe they know their job is secure and everything's cool there. What about their family members? What about their spouses, their kids, and so forth? There's a lot of people that could be bringing a lot of pressure on your teams, and that can affect their performance. So giving them tools to share amongst their households and their friend group can really make a big difference for individual performance as well. So yes, as far as comments go, we have a greeting from Andy, who's saying hello, Andy, and that he's referring to a photo that we took last night as a group because the three of us went to a show. And we also have greetings from Waggy, so hello, Waggy. Anybody else who's watching us, please drop in and let us know in the comments that you're here and where you're from. And also, if you have any questions or things that you'd like us to address during the course of the program. So just a reminder, our format is the new format. It's 30 minutes long. And will be available on replay once the recording is finished. So Sarah, how do we even start with this? It's such a big topic. So where would you like us to start the discussion today?
Okay, so it is a big topic, and actually Vanessa and I were just having a chin wag about it in the kitchen earlier. The thing to start with is we need to figure out what happens when a recession hits. We need to know what happens to us in our brains. And that's the most important thing to start with, is we have a fear response. We go into a threat response. We can't help it. It's innate. Our existence is in threat. So, and when we're in a threat response, our ability to collaborate, make great decisions, to be a great team player, all those things that require this cognitive function to be working well get reduced. So we automatically start behaving in a way that puts it puts us at more risk, irrespective of whether we're the employee, employer, or unemployed looking for a job. So that's where it all starts. And the other thing that happens is we start to focus on what we can't control. Now, many of you may have heard about the sphere of influence. Don't worry if you haven't, but this is about what is in my control, what can I influence, and what is out of my control. People with a resilient mindset will look at where can I influence and control things, and see it, but park the stuff they can't control. A pandemic, I can't control it, but the amount of people that spend hours watching it on the telly, getting so further and further into a sort of depression about it. We know it's going on, but there were things that resilient people did through that others didn't do.
Doom scrolling is a real thing. It's such a descriptive word, but isn't it?
Yeah, and I call it doom looping in your brain. As you start, and I'm going to lose my job, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. It's perfectly normal. We can't, but we can help it. That's the thing. We can choose not to do that. We can choose to focus on what we can do and what we should do and could do. And the other thing we need to be careful is we need to be able to be very clear and understand what we can't do. And this is where it gets tricky, is that how do you know you can't? What I notice when I'm working, I notice myself and with all of my clients, is unless we know ourselves really well and how we make decisions, and we're really very self-aware, when we're running on autopilot most of the time, and we might just assume we can't do something. And one of the things Vanessa and I were talking about a minute ago was, you might say, well, I couldn't go for a job now. I couldn't change my job now. It's too dangerous. That's not true. That's a choice. I couldn't ask for more money. That's not true either. You could. All these things that we say we can't do, we actually need to question and check. So I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that, ladies, or whether there's any questions coming in. But
well, we were talking about, and we've talked about it over the last few weeks as well. It's that self-fulfilling prophecy of starting from somewhere really negative. Whereas if you think the worst is going to happen, then the worst is going to happen. And businesses always start kind of looking at where they can cut costs, because they automatically assume they're going to lose market share or lose sales. Whereas if they look instead, lean into their strengths and look for opportunities and win market share, because if you start from we're going to lose, then you are going to lose. If you start from where can we win, you're looking at it in a different way, and it's changing that mindset, isn't it? And that's what
it is. It's all about the mindset. And the problem with that, when you say it sounds so simple, doesn't it? We've just got to think of the positive. But we know, well, not all of us know, but those of us that are in this field know that the fear response in our brain, and I think Waggy's just alluded to this as well. Yeah, it's okay. Hi, Chris, by the way. But Waggy's saying that it's triggering that experience we've had in early in our subconscious. There is something in there. There's an innate response that's triggering a fear, and we cannot underestimate how strong that is, because it's our emotional center of our brain, which is 5 times stronger than our rational brain. So if we're having a negative emotional response, we can rationally say to ourselves, this is stupid, just think this. And our brain's going, no, thank you, no, because it's trying to keep you safe from harm.
Yeah, I've been reading a book on anxiety from Dr. Russell Kennedy called Anxiety RX, or prescription. It's RX is a symbol for prescription, and in North America, I don't see it so much in other countries of the world. But anyway, one of the things he references, which makes so much sense, is that worry is a bit of a self-reinforcing thing. The more you stress over something, the more you worry about it, when it doesn't happen, your brain's like, oh, you worried about it, so you kept yourself safe, when in fact, it's just creating more and more like traffic in your brain and, taking up more and more of your bandwidth. So it's a false economy. It's like, oh, I worried that I might lose my job. I didn't lose my job today. I should worry some more, is what your innate brain does. But that will just ultimately, like as Vanessa said, become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's a false loop that you get into, and need to just be mindful of it is really helpful.
It is a false loop. And I mean, the thing is, what he's suggesting is correct. Is the reason we do it is we do it on purpose to keep ourselves safe. There is a positive intent to do it, even though we know it's not positively helping us, but it is actually helping us because it's helping us stay safe. So if we don't put our neck on the line, if we don't try and change a job, if we decide to cut the marketing budget, the training budget, we've done a really great thing, but we haven't actually. We've just reacted in fear.
Yeah.
We would talk about lean. Becoming lean is different to making a rash, fear-based decision. It may be a good time to clear out some dead wood. It may be a good time to get rid of processes that don't work. But it's not the time to make rash decisions.
Yeah.
What's Andy saying?
Andy has some ideas for us. He's saying Sarah's advice is totally spot on, superb as always. Yay. Our models for measuring progress in the economy is so fundamentally wrong that this is a difficult topic for him to not go on a big rant. Well, it sounds like you need your own LinkedIn Live and just to go on your rant about all of this stuff. It would probably go absolutely viral.
But he's absolutely true, isn't he? Because what might be recession for some people isn't going to be the same for all. Some markets will still be thriving, but their leaders might see all this talk of recession, and that sets them into the fear-based mindset, which means that they then start looking very short term, forgetting medium term, forgetting what's coming next, but making cuts and fear-based decisions that won't serve them either in their market now or in their market tomorrow.
Yeah. And when you think about it too, it's one of those things where I just did think about it. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, every adverse event, I got it again. Every adverse event is somebody's opportunity, right? And the question is, who is going to capture that opportunity? Who is going to maximize on that? So, this market is shrinking. Okay, well, somewhere else, there's going to be a market growing. I mean, the pandemic was horrible for many, many people, but there were certain industries, certain markets that did really well. Grocery delivery companies did really well, grew tremendously. I mean, beyond their own capacity, truly, in that time. But they couldn't have forecast that kind of growth, just like other industries, like the hospitality industry, couldn't have forecast that kind of shrinkage.
No.
So
and actually,
there's always an angle to be had.
Those two examples are really good ones, because the airlines, the hotels, restaurants, there is no way they could have predicted that, and it was completely out of their control. Completely. I mean, they had every right to feel miserable. And we have to look at things in that context. It's got to be that black and white. But there are
again, like the hospitality industry, there are some restaurants that did really well out of it, because rather than laying off staff and cutting everything, they looked for opportunities.
Yeah,
some restaurants did. They kept their brand, and they might not have made a lot of money,
but they kept going.
Delivery boxes, recipe classes, all that sort of thing.
No, you're absolutely right. There were people. I'm just thinking about the pub down the road from us, and they did 2 nights a week. They did takeaways that when you were allowed to be out in twos or something, you would sit on the green and have fish and chips and stuff. So it's you're right. There is, wherever there is adversity, there is opportunity. But I know when COVID hit for me, my whole business collapsed. I had nothing. I furloughed myself for 3 months. And instead of going into myself, which I could have done, I completely turned everything around. And COVID for me worked incredibly well, because it gave me an opportunity to stop, do what I really wanted to do, which meant I had to invest in myself. Bear in mind, I got no money coming in. And this was the resilient mindset was, if I don't spend on myself right now, I am not going to be the one that thrives in the next 2 years. So I found the money, I spent the money, and it was worth every penny for the course that I went on that helped put me back onto the map. Bought a LinkedIn training course, all of that stuff. I didn't know how to use LinkedIn. But what I see is so many people saying, oh, no, I won't invest in myself, or we'll cut the training budget, we'll cut the marketing, we'll get rid of these heads. And actually, even in a shrinking market, if you can be the best person, you will still get that shrinking market. It's a very, very different mindset.
I'm a big fan.
Sorry,
go on, Melinda. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying it becomes more competitive, right?
Yeah.
So if there's less money going around, the people who are spending that money are going to be wanting the best that they can get for their money. So therefore, you have to be the standout in your industry. How are you going to do that? Is that going to be by cutting your staff to the bone, asking the remaining people to work double time for minimal compensation? Probably not. So, obviously every industry is different, and this isn't like 100% business advice, but think about being the exception in your market, capturing that market share, and how can you stand out and differentiate yourself so that you can capture those bits of value that your customer base is looking for, whether you're an entrepreneur or a company. People want to get value for money even more in a time of recession. And as a result, you need to stand out to be able to capture them.
Yeah. Another great point. And it leads me into this whole trust thing, is that trust is key now, isn't it? So if you're in a threat mindset, you will be leaking it. I talk about leakage a lot. Your emotional leakage. And whether you're talking to an employee, an employer, clients, whatever it is, if you're leaking fear and you're working in a fear-based mindset, you are going to lose that trust and that respect and possibly that client or that relationship. So it's even more important, just from a personal point of view, for your own growth, to be able to control that. But people are also de-risking everything. So not only do you need to be the best, but in your field, you need to be the authority, which probably is going to take some investment or some time. It could just be reading a book. It doesn't have to be going on a massive course. It could be something that you've been meaning to do. But if you don't stay with your head above everybody else with that right mindset, you'll soon find somebody else that does. And they'll be the one that's picked for the job, for the promotion, for that big client project, whatever it is. You'll miss out, because they want you to be trustworthy, and to do that you need to exude trust, which means you need to have a whopping load of self-belief. Which takes me into the other thing that we need, which is, if you don't believe in yourself, if you're second guessing yourself, if you're focusing on I can't, I shouldn't, I wouldn't, that says to me something about the mindset that you've got. I help people create what I describe as an unshakable self-belief without the ego. And when people reach that, it's like this utopic state where they understand themselves. They have a great understanding of how they're making decisions, why they're making decisions. They make better decisions as a result, faster ones. They're doing it more consciously and for the right reasons. And when you're in that state, you become much more magnetic. So say in 100 people, the rest are all flailing and worrying and getting smaller and smaller because of recession. If you're going, whoa, come on, we've got this, you're the one that they're going to want.
Yeah, you're projecting that positive attitude, which will attract people to you, like the proverbial flies to honey. But also developing the empathy that your customers, your clients, are going to be going through this sort of emotion and this sort of stress themselves. So if you can empathize with them, think about what are their perhaps new concerns. What is their market struggling with, and how can you solve those problems proactively? That will help you get that extra insight instead of just pushing the same line you've been pushing forever. Tell them a new story, but tell them that story that really resonates with what they need right now to make them feel better, and do it with that authority. Andy's got some more wisdom to share. Vanessa, you want to read that one out?
Yeah, sure. So he says recessions are inevitable.
Vanessa's connection's gone a bit fractured.
You've gone dark. You just have to look pretty. Sorry.
We'll just jump in. Sorry. Recessions are inevitable in this current model. Perpetual growth isn't. It cannot be sustainable. Perpetual growth, that is. I believe we need new models that measure progress that is beneficial to society, individuals, and the environment. Preach.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I mean, that's a whole other show. We should get you on, Andy, to talk about that. But yeah, and I absolutely agree. So what you're talking about, Melinda, empathy is really important, and our ability to empathize when we're under tension and under pressure starts to nosedive. I don't know what the sound effects are for then, but there we go. Hands off my ego. I was just reading Abdi's comment just go through. I should really say like hands. Yeah, I'll leave your ego alone. Don't you worry. So so ability to empathize is key. And if you are able to empathize with others, it builds trust. Part of building trust is empathy. The other is credibility. We start to lose credibility if we're not being empathetic and caring about the other people's needs. But there's so many things that I'm just looking back at what we were supposed to cover on today's show, and we have covered a lot of it. But why might this be helpful to have a recession-proof mindset? Well, the opposite of everything we've just said is if you are able to keep control of your mindset and you are feeling strong and you're focused on what you can do, you're continually moving forward. It doesn't mean you have an unrealistic rose-tinted glasses view of the world at all. Resilient people are very realistic. They see the problem and they note it and they stick it up on a board and go, I see you, but this is what I can do instead. And they focus on that. And there is something about moving forward, putting one foot in front of the other, even when we're feeling shaky, that puts us above other people every step of the way, because a lot of people are just stuck in a rut and paralyzed with fear. So we've talked about how we might grow. I wanted to talk about how we might grow this resilient mindset, this recession-proof mindset. And we've talked about what's in your control, focusing on that. Melinda, you've talked about empathy. But I just want to add to that empathy piece is you've got to know your own value. To trust yourself, to feel unshakable, you've got to know your own value. But that isn't enough either. You've got to be able to share your value with other people. And I find this really fascinating when I talk to clients about it and go, right, now you're in this unshakable feeling and, you're confident, you're empowered. Now you need to help people see, feel, understand your value. And they're like, oh, no, that's really icky. Or some are so overconfident. They're like, yeah, I do that all the time. Both of those are not helpful. What we want is the thing in the middle, which is be able to tell the right people at the right time for the right reason with the right intent what you've been doing and why it's of value to them and why it might be of value to other people so that they can grow and learn from it. But what you're doing is help join the dots to your value for the person that doesn't see you on a daily basis, speak to you on a daily basis, but they are the one that's responsible for maybe signing off your bonus, keeping your job, getting a job, getting a new client, working with new teams. You've got to be able to translate your value, which you cannot do if you are in a fear-based mindset, because you start to question your own value and feel a bit like, oh, what if? So I hope that makes sense, but it's I'm trying to crystallize quite a lot of things into just a couple of sentences. But yeah, what do you think of that then? How you translate your own value to other people?
I think there's an element of kind of self-empathy there, because I think a lot of people are really good at talking up their colleagues, at talking up their friends, but they struggle to do that for themselves. And I guess it's an interesting point to say, the things that you say to yourself, would you say that to your colleague, to your friend? And how would you feel if they said that to you? And so if you wouldn't say it to them, and if you'd be upset if they said it to you, and you'd probably unfriend them, why do you say it to yourself? Why do you accept that sort of negative chat from yourself to yourself?
Yeah, It's a really good barometer, and we do all do it. But again, it's becoming conscious that you're doing it, catching yourself, and then being able to have those conversations. That's really important.
Yeah, Waggy and Andy have joined in. Waggy is saying, through meditation, you can get space where you can face your fear, anxiety, and act against it as you were aware of it. So it's kind of that perspective, isn't it? It's kind of being able to step back from your own spin.
Yeah.
Get that.
Whatever way you do it, yeah, as long as you found a way that works for you. Meditation, I know, works really well for a lot of people. I find it hard to meditate because I get bored, which I know is ridiculous, but it's a really good thing to do. And Andy said, every problem I've had in my life is being fixed by some form of internal change. A good mindset is one of the strongest mechanisms you can ever have. It is, yes, thank you.
Internal change. That's like that's a key pair of words there, isn't it? Key statement.
Absolutely. What we often forget is that if there's a problem, most of us go, let's change what we do. Mm-hmm. No. Let's change and understand how we're thinking and feeling and behaving about it first. Understand that, make sure that is true, because that's laced with a load of mistruths. That's a whole different conversation. But, you know, we tell ourselves a lot of lies based on the information that we've stored in our brains over the years. And then you move forward. So I just got sidetracked by Waggy's comment then.
Can you hear me? Am I live now?
No, I can't hear you. It's sorry. I blame Shez Farmer. I don't know what's going on with the interweb. What was I saying? Oh, I've got sidetracked.
Waggy.
Well, we've got 3 minutes left, so we can say that Waggy's profound statement is kind of like
it's thrown me completely. Whatever I was saying was great. I don't know what it was. I'll look back at it and remind myself in a minute, but I got sidetracked. But yeah,
sorry, in the final 3 minutes,
yes,
what are your key action points for people to take away and help them develop that resilience mindset that'll really serve us well going forward?
Okay, so and it is a resilient mindset. People are going, how do you get a recession-proof mindset? It is a resilient mindset. Let's face it. It's just we are in a recession or hitting a recession. The first thing is to look at what is in your control and out of your control. And when I say that, I mean, don't just go tick box. I can, I can't, I can, I can't. Really look at what you're saying no to, or what you think is out of your control, and what you are self-limiting through fear. So I couldn't look for another job now. It's pointless. I'm too old. Something, you know, all of this is fear-based thinking. So please check on that. So about your mindset, what you can control is key. So how you're feeling and how others are feeling. Melinda, you brought up the empathy piece. Is please use, be empathetic to yourself. Remind yourself of how well you've done in the past, how you've coped in adversity in the past, because that'll give you good memories to work on that you can do this. But also be very aware of how others are feeling as well, and use that empathy piece to make sure that they feel safe with you. Build the trust, making sure that you're feeling valued so that other people value you. So if there is any form of competition or danger that you're in, maybe there's going to be job losses or something like that, you are not in the firing line, because people know your value because you value yourself. And yeah, I think that's it. It's just your confidence. Make sure you're reliable. Make sure you're consistent. Focus on what you can do, not on what you can't do. But it's just all in here. It really is. And if you don't know how to do that, if you are being filled with negative self-chatter, I'm not supposed to promote on this show, but on the 30th of November, I have got a webinar that's running, which you can find. Just DM me if you want to find out the details on that. And it's all about starting to take control of this negative chatter, so that you can have more success, more fun, without the fear and the worry, even in a recession. So if you would like some information on that, then please get in touch.
Absolutely. And we've got lots more good information coming up next week. So be sure to join us at our usual time. And we will look forward to seeing you there. And if you're watching on replay and you have any questions or comments, please drop them in your respective feed. and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. We do appreciate the replay viewers just as much as those who join us live.
We certainly do. And just to Paul Vanessa, she's just written, fab show. I had so much to say about trust and visibility, and we can't hear you to talk about trust and visibility, but you look amazing. I mean, you just look wonderful, and that's that. We're here for that.
But maybe that'll be a great topic for next week.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
We'll see you
Feel free to join us next week and bring your friends.
Bye. Take care. Bye.